Before we continue, there's some folks, as always, that we have to thank for being a part of this and working hard to get this thing together. James and Bo Fryer. Bo has headed this thing up from the beginning and has worked diligently on making this happen. Suzanne Haney, Spencer Wolf, Mike Hughes, Dickie Wright with Culligan, Skip Burcham, Marilyn Reed, Bob Wagner, the Big Spring Herald, KBYG,
The
KBS.
Tea Party didn't really start just now. The sentiment that drives the Tea Party didn't start just now. I think it probably really started with Thomas Jefferson, when he said that every government degenerates when trusted to the rulers alone. The people alone are its only safe depositories. And somewhere along the road, that sentiment kind of got obscured, and to a great extent, I think, until Ronald Reagan came along. And he said, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. My chairmanship of the redistricting committee is significant because it means the first bill that probably comes before that committee will be mine. It is my intention that that bill will show that Howard County stays in Senate District 31. It is a tremendous honor and one for which I'm very grateful to represent you in the Texas Senate. And you send a very important message to the Texas Senate that people can govern themselves, that the job of government is to serve, and it's the job of people to govern. You're going to see very early on in this next legislative session a resolution passed on the 10th Amendment. And the 10th Amendment is maybe the simplest of them. It simply says that those powers not specifically reserved for Congress belong to the states. All of them. The 14th Amendment was never designed to be either an incentive or a reward to violate American law.
We're tired of our big spending, overreaching government. Please help me welcome Jim Landtruth.
Good morning. Hello? Good morning. Didn't these guys do a great job? You know, the only bad thing about that is all these people out here are going, I wish that guy would sit down so we could sing another song. It is great to be here. It's good to see all of you here this morning. Throughout this morning, I think you're going to hear a lot about why this election in November is so important. It's so critical to the future of our nation and of our state. Whether it be redistricting, and the senator talked about some of these things, whether it be through redistricting, whether it be just an overburdensome government, whether it be high taxes, border security, violation of the 10th Amendment and states' rights, and all of these things are important. And all of these things should motivate you to get out into the polls in November. But I'm not going to go into detail on all of these issues this morning. This morning, I just simply want to take the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for loving your country enough to be here this morning. Thank you for caring enough about the future of this country for your children or children's children to be here this morning. Thank you. Thank you for understanding the take this country. It is time that we stand up and we fight to take this country back. I believe it is either time to stand up or give up. I would even offer to you at this point in our history, if you have not decided to stand up, you have already given. Ronald Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away. It is not passed on to our children through the bloodline. It is fought for, protected, and passed on for them to do the same. And if we don't, one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was like to live in the United States where men were free. I commit to you, as long as there is breath in my body, I will never quit. I will never give up. I will always stand and fight against an oppressive government. I will stand and fight against overtaxation. I will stand up and fight for the individual rights and liberties that were given to us by our forefathers, our Constitution, and our God in
Please help
heaven.
me welcome Veronica Armendariz.
So, the Conservative Hispanic Society exists to preserve and protect those traditional Hispanic values through community involvement, advancement of Hispanic-owned businesses, and promotion of conservative policies at the local, state, and federal levels. So a lot of times while I'm out in Travis County, I'm asked by many of the candidates, how do we get Latinos to vote by their conservative values and not just vote because they're being promised things that aren't going to happen, or that, you know, Republicans are the party of the white people or the party of the rich people. Hispanic society. What does that mean, conservative? And I asked him, I said, well, I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions, and then I'll answer your question. But I honestly think that I don't need to answer your question after that. I said, are you pro-life? He said, yes, I am. I said, okay, are you pro-family? He said, yes, I am. I said, do you believe in limited government? He said, yes, I do. I said, you're conservative. Because it's been for too long that the assumption is that Latinos all vote Democrat. And I'm here to tell you, I don't.
Please help me welcome Dr. Donald May.
Good morning. There's no better place to be on God's green earth than here in West Texas. And what makes it great are the people. Give yourself a hand. What a great morning. We're here to talk about our country, and we're here to talk about our election. Our nation's founding document is the Declaration of Independence. It tells us that our rights come from God and not from government. Not from Barack Obama, not from Nancy Pelosi. Our rights come from God. Our rights are unalienable. That means our rights are absolute and cannot be taken away from us by anyone.
At all levels of our government, do you ever just stop and ask yourself, how did we get here? You know, what happened? For some of us, we'd only have to look as far as the closest mirror. And that's how we got here. For too long, we've assumed that if we voted, we were fulfilling our patriotic duty. We assumed that everyone and anyone that ran at the state or the federal levels had been previously been voted on, had been vetted by the local people who were people just like you and I. And while we were busy working and raising our families, a plan was being implemented that you're seeing unfold today. Back to term. Here to represent the Disabled Veterans of America.
Next speaker will be tonight, Captain E.R. Morris.
Where's your aunt? While they're here.
We can do our part fighting the war with terror and honoring those who serve both at home and abroad. Join us to show the families that we remember the sacrifices they have made. We cannot give loved ones back to their families, but we can show the families that their loved ones are never forgotten.